हाय, मैं डॉक्टर सुनीता। आज आपको मैं कुछ नया बताने वाली हूँ, तो आप रहिए मेरे साथ, बने रहिए। इस मोबाइल के थ्रू मैं आप लोगों को बहुत सारी जानकारियाँ देती रहती हूँ, तो आप बिल्कुल बने रहिए, जुड़े रहिए मेरे साथ और सुनते रहिए। अब मैं क्या क्या आपके लिए नया कुछ बताने वाली हूँ। हेलो एवरीवन, गुड मॉर्निंग। मैं डॉक्टर सुनीता, गायनेकोलॉजिस्ट। Today I will tell you about the main organ of the female, that is uterus, and its relation and part of the uterus. Okay. The uterus is a hollow pyriform organ situated in the pelvis between the pelvic implant and behind rectum. Position of the uterus. Its normal position is one of the anteversion and antiflexion. The uterus usually inclined to the right, means dextral rotation, so that the cervix is directed to the left, that is levo-rotation, and comes in close relation with the left ureter. This is the main important point. And the measurement on its part, the uterus measures about 8 centimeter long and 5 centimeter wide at the fundus, and its wall are about 1.25 centimeter thick. Its weight varies from 50 to 80 grams. It has got the following parts: body or corpus, number 1, number 2 isthmus, and number 3 cervix. Now come to the point for first part of the uterus, that is the body or corpus. The body is further divided into the fundus. The fundus, the part which lies above the opening of the uterine tubes. Body proper is triangular and lies between the opening of the tubes and its isthmus. The superolateral angle of the body of the uterus project outward from the junction of the fundus and the body, and it is called the cornu of the uterus. This is also the important point to be noted. The uterine tubes and the round ligament of the ovary is attached to it. And now we come to the isthmus. Number 2 is isthmus. Isthmus is a constricted part measuring about 0.5 centimeter situated between the body and the cervix. It is limited above by the anatomical internal os and below by the histological internal os as cough. Some consider isthmus measuring about 2.5. Isthmus is a part of the lower portion of the body of the uterus. Now, third part is come to the point, cervix. Cervix is a cylindrical in shape and its measure about 2.5 centimeter. It extends from the isthmus and the end at the external os, which opens into the vagina and performing the anterior vaginal wall by the vagina. After perforating the anterior wall, the part lying above the vagina is called supravaginal, and the which lies within the vagina is called the vaginal part. Now, the cavity of the uterus. The cavity of the uterine body is a triangular on cornual section, and the base above and the apex is below. This point is also to be very important, and its cavity measure about 3.5 centimeter. There is no cavity in the fundus. And the cervical canal is fusiform and cervical canal, usually 6.5 to 7 centimeter. Now we come to the point on the relation of the uterus. Anteriorly, above the internal os, the body forms the posterior wall of the uterovesical pouch, and below the internal os, it is separated from the base of the bladder by the loose areolar tissue. And posteriorly, it is covered with the peritoneum and forms the anterior wall of the pouch of Douglas containing coils of intestine. Now its laterally double fold of the peritoneum of the broad ligament are attached, between which the uterine artery ascends outward. Attachment of the Macdonald ligament extend from the internal os down to the supravaginal cervix and lateral vaginal wall. About 1.5 cm away at the level of internal os, a little nearer on the left side is the crossing of the uterine artery, the ureter. The uterine artery crosses from above and in front of the ureter. This is also very important point. Soon before the ureter enter the uterine tunnel. Now, structure. The ball consists 3 layers. Outside, inward. Outside is the parametrium. It is serous coat which invests the entire organ except on the lateral border. The peritoneum usually intimately adherent to the underlying muscles. Number 2, myometrium. It consists of the thick bundle of smooth muscle fibers held by connective tissue and are arranged in various directions. During pregnancy, however, 3 distinct layers can be identified: outer, longitudinal, middle alternating, and inner circular. Number 3 is endometrium. The mucous lining of the cavity is called endometrium. As there is no submucous layer, the endometrium is directly approaches to the muscle coat. It consists of the lamina propria and the surface epithelium. The surface epithelium is a single layer of ciliated columnar epithelium. The lamina propria contain stromal cell, endometrial gland, vessels, and the nerves. The glands are simple, tubular, and lined by the mucus-secreting non-ciliated columnar epithelium, which penetrate the stroma and sometimes even enter the muscle coat. The endometrium is changed to the decidua during pregnancy. Now we come to the point on the cervix. Cervix is composed mainly by the fibrous connective tissue. The smooth muscle fibers average is 10 to 15%. Only the posterior surface has got peritoneal coat, mucus coat lining. The endocervix is simple columnar with vessel nuclei, and that is the lining the glands is non-ciliated secretory columnar cell. The vaginal part of the cervix is lined by the stratified squamous epithelium. This is point to be learning. The vaginal part of the cervix is lined by the stratified squamous epithelium, and the squamocolumnar junction is situated at the external os. This point to be learning. The squamocolumnar junction is situated at the external os. Now the secretion of the endometrial secretion is scanty and watery. Secretion of the cervical gland is alkaline and thick and rich in mucoprotein. Noted to be. The endometrium secretion is scanty and watery, and the secretion of the secretion of the cervical gland is alkaline and rich in mucoprotein, fructose, and sodium chloride. Means cervix secretion is contain this point. And now the peritoneum in relation to the uterus. The traced anteriorly, the peritoneum covering the superior surface of bladder reflects over the anterior surface of the uterus and the covering the level of the internal os. The pouch is formed is called the uterovesical pouch, and the peritoneum thereafter is firmly attached to the anterior posterior wall of the uterus, upper 1/3 of the posterior vaginal wall, where from it reflects over the rectum. Over the rectum, the pouch is formed is called the pouch of Douglas. And the traced laterally, the adherent peritoneum of the anterior posterior wall of the uterus is continuous laterally, forming the broad ligament, and laterally it extends to the lateral pelvic wall, where the layers reflect to cover the anterior and posterior aspect of the pelvic cavity. On its superior free border lies the fallopian tube, and on the posterior layer the ovary is attached by the mesoovarian. The lateral 1/4 of the free border is covered infundibulous pelvic ligament. Okay. And today we take this topic is sufficient, and now next topic we will discuss another point. Okay.